There are many tales and legends that have been handed down from generation to generation. Though many have been lost to time, some of these tales are so special and captivating, they live on to this day. One such legend is Firebird, a legend we hope once again will rise from the ashes. The pony car craze reached new heights when GM's arch-nemesis Ford introduced Mustang in 1964. Based on the lowly Falcon, it was cheap to produce, and sales numbers smashed all expectations. Lee Iacocca's first hit sent shockwaves throughout the automotive industry. GM was quick to respond and introduced another automotive legend, Camaro, for 1967. Like Mustang, Camaro borrowed components from an inexpensive stablemate, in this case, the Nova. And Camaro's corporate cousin from Pontiac would also debut for 1967 as Firebird. There were few but significant changes to the basic F-body platform Firebird shared with Camaro. Though changes were mostly cosmetic, Firebird had a distinctive look that allowed it to take flight out from under the shadow of the more mainstream Camaro. The second-generation Firebird arrived in 1970 with 4 basic offerings, ranging from the basic Firebird to the all-out legend that is Trans Am. The Esprit trim level offered a unique blend of sporty yet restrained luxury, while the Formula offerings delivered affordable performance. The broad range and mix of options provided Pontiac's refreshed pony a chance to compete successfully during the dawn of the 70s. The basic Firebird was lean on content, but stylish enough to attract buyers looking for economy and good looks. The 250 cubic inch inline-6 produced 155 horsepower, a number that was not exactly exciting, but did provide adequate performance and decent economy. Blind spots were larger than originally anticipated due to manufacturing issues with the rear wraparound window that was originally intended for production. But from any angle, Firebird was attractive, particularly with its color-keyed integrated front bumpers and slatted taillight treatment. GM did invest some effort into ensuring the overall look was as sleek as possible. Though some efforts such as the much-maligned windshield integrated antenna were probably a step too far. Sales literature also mentions other innovations, such as longer doors that eliminate rear-quarter windows. All of these innovations, however, may have been more to do with cost savings disguised as benefits. Regardless, Firebird was a hit with the young and the young at heart, and would continue to build upon the success it enjoyed at introduction back in the swinging 60s. The luxury-oriented Esprit actually did pack quite a punch with the standard 255 horsepower 5.7-liter V8. A 2-barrel 400 cubic inch power plant was also on offer. Interior trim options were as diverse as ever, and relatively luxurious compared to other GM offerings of the time. Cutting-edge advances could be found in the extensive options list, such as variable ratio power steering, along with standard features such as interior door panels molded into one integral unit. The Formula 400 trim package could be configured with the L78 4-barrel 400 producing 330 horsepower, or the L74 Ram Air 3 package, which boosted power to an eye-watering 345 horsepower. Unlike today's ever more limited options, Firebird could be equipped in just about any way imaginable. And then there was Trans Am, the ultimate Firebird. Trans Am offered two engine configurations, the Ram Air 3 delivering 335 horsepower, and the rare Ram Air 4 that offered 345 horsepower. All Trans Ams sported lower bodywork add-ons that were both aggressive looking and somewhat functional. Interiors replaced wood tone applique with the look of engine-turned aluminum. A shaker hood scoop and dramatic body stripe detailing made it clear to everyone this was a special Firebird. Though dark times were indeed ahead, for now Firebird would bask in the glow of adoration by many. The term Firebird is closely associated with the phoenix, a mythical bird of Native American legend that rose to return from the ashes of defeat. Firebird would return for 1971 and continue to build upon its legendary success. As before, the Trans Am served as Pontiac's pony car flagship. But other trim levels were prominently featured as well. Firebird was promoted as a lifestyle companion that could take you wherever you wanted to go. There were now three variations of the Formula trim level, the 350, 400, and 455. These Formula packages could also be optioned up to include Trans Am components to enhance both looks and performance. The Spree featured wall-to-wall loop pile carpeting for luxury, while standard front disc brakes and a hefty stabilizer bar aided in sporty handling. A one-year-only front fender vent aided engine cooling in any climate. 1971 also saw the debut of the legendary honeycomb wheel, a signature design feature that would evolve over the course of the 70s. And of course this was the 70s, so wood tone applique was prominent. All Firebirds featured double roof construction and the magical Endura front bumper. A front console, sport-styled mirrors, and a padded steering wheel, as well as rally gauge cluster, could dress the basic Firebird up into something special. Indeed, there seemed to be no end to the level of customization Firebird offered. Anyone could have a Firebird as unique as they were. Firebird nearly disappeared for 1972 due to labor strikes. Fortunately for the faithful, production did resume. A unique honeycomb grille was introduced and served as one of the few changes during this turbulent time. Many engine choices remained on offer, with the LS5 455 high output remaining as optional for the Formula and standard for Trans Am. A 4-speed Hurst manual transmission complemented the shaker hood to deliver genuine performance and excitement. Formula featured a fiberglass hood sporting dual hood scoops and thick front and rear stabilizer bars that delivered better handling than American muscle cars were known for at the time. In less sporty offerings, touches of wood-tone decadence complemented a comprehensive gauge cluster that John Davis probably still dreams about to this day. In stark contrast to today, Firebird for 1972 featured a broad array of adventurous colors and materials. Thick wall-to-wall loop pile carpeting and pleated detailing on every surface made this a car you wanted to travel the countryside in. Indeed, from Nutbush to Nashville, Firebird continued to be a smash hit, no matter the configuration it was ordered in. Changes were minor for 1973, but did include some important optional upgrades, such as radial tune suspension. Ever higher insurance costs resulted in advertising that began to transition away from raw power to remind prospective buyers of the luxury features on offer. But this was still the 70s, so mention was also made of the large displacement V8s that could be matched with those luxurious interiors. The model range still consisted of Firebird, Esprit, Formula, and Trans Am. Standard power ranged from the base 250 cubic inch 6 with 3-speed manual to the 455 with 4-speed. The technologically advanced Enduro bumper continued to grace the front end of the entire range. And a revised Hoodbird decal could be ordered with option code RPO-WW7. Many other options were also on offer to make Firebird your very own. The new federal bumper standards for 1975 altered Firebird's appearance and increased curb weight considerably. Despite these changes, Pontiac somehow managed, rather miraculously, to keep Firebird as attractive as ever. Front-end styling sported a more slanted appearance, and slanted grille inserts replaced last year's honeycomb detailing. Brochures brought back the ghosts of Pontiac's past, with mention of wide-track engineering. All trim levels continued to consist of a hardtop coupe body style and front independent coil spring suspension up front with leaf-sprung live rear axle. Practicality was given some mention, with accident prevention features consisting of side marker lights and a 4-way hazard flasher. (1975) styling features included turn signals that were relocated into the grille, and a wraparound window that greatly improved rear visibility. This would serve as the last year for Formula's unique dual-snout hood. Smog-reducing catalytic converters resulted in the unfortunate demise of the Super Duty engine and turbo-hydromatic 400 3-speed automatic. The smaller turbo-hydromatic 350 automatic, however, was suitable, as maximum power continued to lessen thanks to ever more draconian emissions mandates. As was typical of the American offerings of the 70s, personal luxury would increase in focus. All was not lost, however, as genuine innovation would continue in the way of steel-belted radial tires and available safety track limited slip rear axles. "1976 marked Pontiac's 50th anniversary and the beginning of a revival for one of America's few remaining performance icons. Front and rear styling was even sleeker, sporting polyurethane bumpers that managed to both look attractive while also meeting new federal bumper mandates. Engine options remained unchanged, primarily due to emissions regulations. Appearance packages, however, were more diverse than ever. From the W50 Formula package featuring special two-tone treatment, to the 50th anniversary RPO code Y82 package with its black and gold accents, Flash successfully replaced raw horsepower. And of course, the Screaming Chicken hood ornament was front and center in the options list. Interior changes were also minimal, though the deluxe interior seats were revised for better comfort. A rare option was the vinyl roof that was accented by a contrasting tape stripe. An improved ignition system and standard steel-belted radial tires were among the other minor mechanical improvements for the 1976 model year. Trans Am's 400 cubic inch 4-barrel was standard, while an optional 455 cubic inch V8 provided decent power for the time, particularly when teamed with the Screaming Chicken. Interiors continued to feature the sporty yet classy engine-turned dash detailing. Unfortunately, the higher output models such as Firebird were stuck with a 4-speed manual for 1976. Firebird Formula continued to offer relative thrift with its standard 350 cubic inch V8. The loss of power due to the introduction of catalytic converters and other emissions controls was somewhat offset by extended maintenance intervals. Rosewood applique interior appointments bolstered Firebird's appeal to those that preferred a bit of luxury and thrift over raw performance. The basic Firebird featured the ultimate in low-cost style, with its 250 cubic inch V6 and Morocide vinyl bucket seats. And as always, an enormous array of options meant that everyone could have a Firebird of their very own. Few cars become legends. Few people become legends. Burt Leon Reynolds, born in Lansing, Michigan in 1936, and his trusty sidekick, a 1977 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am, would both attain that rare mythical status when their paths crossed in one of the greatest automotive-focused movies of all time. The 70s were a dark time for performance enthusiasts, with many predicting the demise of the pony and muscle cars. Smokey and the Bandit provided the ultimate escape for those that longed for the good old days, before fuel shortages and ever-increasing emissions regulations. Prominent in this most legendary of car cinema masterpieces was a revised Firebird that featured the recently government-approved rectangular headlamps. The new face of Firebird truly gave new life to Pontiac's aging pony car. The Formula model continued with a new lower-profile hood scoop design. Esprit also continued on as the sporty yet luxurious option. New appearance packages such as the RPO W60 Skybird appearance package featured an all-blue color scheme that was marketed towards women. Wire wheel covers and new velour bucket seats rounded out the many options Esprit would offer for this year. A revised version of the legendary snowflake aluminum wheel was made standard for the Y82 appearance package and optional on all other models. The standard instrument panel remained comprehensive and wood-tone clad. This Skybird example illustrates the blue-colored theme that extended to the standard luxury steering wheel. And you could of course order an 8-track tape deck for maximum listening pleasure. Engine options would remain diverse, ranging from the standard 3.8 V6 to the 6.6-liter V8. Exterior color options also remained extensive, a sad reminder of the variety of color that was once on offer, before all cars became limited to a shade of asphalt. Things only got better for Firebird in 1978. Riding high on the success of the unexpected hit that was Smokey and the Bandit, minimal changes were necessary. The most notable of those minor revisions consisted of a slightly reworked grille pattern and appearance packages that featured more metallic gold detailing than ever. The snowflake alloys remained, as did the T-top configuration, which now featured a Fisher design in place of the previously outsourced Hurst hardware. The Formula trim continued with available two-tone trim packages, while the Esprit continued to offer understated luxury in the form of monochromatic paint schemes as featured in the Redbird and Skybird packages. Though a trend probably best left in history, the available spoke-style wheel covers did attempt to convey a luxury aesthetic and represents the diverse array of options of this long-lost time in automotive history. And from solar gold to Mayan red, the variety of dazzling colors Firebird offered continued to represent a much better time of days gone by. Just as impressive as the exterior trim and color options was the interior variety. Textured velour surfaces complemented an exterior shape that was aging like fine wine, a unique accomplishment for GM products back in the 70s. There were some big changes for 1979. Particularly in the front end styling, which now featured a more aerodynamic aesthetic. The quad rectangular headlamps remained, but they were now separated and recessed, a limitation dictated by federal regulations that prohibited anything from covering the approved sealed beam units. A 10th anniversary Firebird limited edition trim package featured a silver and charcoal exterior theme, with new turbo cast aluminum wheels. This most special of Trans Ams featured every available option, though cruise control was deleted and credited when the manual transmission was ordered. The Firebird was no longer just a straight-line performer, as so often was the case for American performance cars. Car and Driver magazine actually declared the Trans Am with the WS6 package as the best-handling car for 1979. Though performance was less explosive than prior years thanks to ever-increasing emissions regulations, the second-generation Firebird became ever more popular in its twilight years and would make appearances in many movies and TV shows. Indeed, somehow Firebird had beat the odds. Despite many challenges brought on by fuel shortages and government mandates, Pontiac's most famous of pony cars continued to take America by storm. One of the first memories I have of any movie was Smokey and the Bandit 2. As an adult, I'll admit the first Bandit movie is in many ways superior, but the child in me still prefers the over-the-top automotive antics of Bandit 2. NASCAR was also a fan of Firebird, as it was featured as the pace car for 1980. Pontiac were quick to point out that virtually no modifications were required for Firebird to be up to this task. This honor did somewhat distract from the reality that emissions and economy pressures meant Firebird's traditional large displacement power plants were no more for 1980. The dawn of the 80s was bittersweet, as Firebird had indeed survived, but the sacrifice to do so was great. There was no manual transmission to be found, and the humble 301 cubic inch power plant was now standard. Yet, somehow, despite the reality of ever-decreasing raw performance, Firebird somehow managed to keep the magic alive. The big news for 1980 was turbo power, a very unusual choice at the time for a V8. This was another attempt by Pontiac to keep the performance flame alive. The mating of the carbureted 301 cubic inch V8 with a Garrett turbocharger was complicated, and in the end, not entirely successful. As underhood temps increased, pinging and detonation were addressed by a new and complex system. The result was greatly reduced power the harder the car was driven. Yellowbird replaced Redbird for 1980 and served as the last of these special color-keyed Esprit packages. Interiors were little changed, though additional sound insulation and minor quality refinements did reduce noise and kept the cabin cooler. For its final year, the second-generation Firebird would continue its mission to serve as Pontiac's performance flagship. Now 11 years old, Firebird was clearly showing signs of age, and its replacement was waiting in the wings for 82. The aged bird would serve as a testbed for modern tech that would improve efficiency and performance for future generations. The Bandit-look Trans Am was sent off in style with an updated gold appearance package. Formula would also receive minor visual updates, mostly consisting of new decals and paint options. A Buick-sourced V6 was now standard. Bandit was all smiles with news of the return of the previously discontinued Borg-Warner 4-speed for his beloved Trans Am. Twilight had arrived for the second generation of Firebird. Having served Pontiac and its faithful flock well, it was time to take flight and become one of the few cars of the 70s to ascend into legend. Energy shortages, ever more draconian emissions mandates, and federal safety regulations nearly killed the spirit of performance during the 1970s. Many had lost their faith and had given up the hope of a performance revival. But in these dark times, there were glimmers of hope. By offering a vast array of style and performance flavors, and by continuously evolving, Firebird kept the performance flame alive. Some would say it was a miracle that a car with bones as old as Firebird actually did help save the traditional American muscle car. Firebird, particularly in Trans Am form, was an example of the ingenuity of the Pontiac division to defy corporate mandates and produce something truly special. And of course, there is that legendary black and gold Trans Am, piloted by the equally legendary Mr. Reynolds and the incomparable Sally Fields alongside him. These are the childhood memories that elevate the second-generation Firebird above all others for many. It's funny how things happen. An aging automotive legend happens to cross paths with a charismatic Hollywood icon, the result of which is an unexpected return of faith in the future of automotive excitement. Few would argue it was the greatest, but there is no denying the second-generation Firebird overcame the harshest of tribulations and lit the path forward to a true performance revival. And it is for this reason that Firebird joins that list of childhood heroes that may be gone, but will never be forgotten.
suspension very weak. Engine fire, the arrow again. Smoking dope with John DeLorean. Lightning quicker than the planes in Kenosha. Topher's gone off if they don't know what it's like to be at the top. Go all electric, watch your models drop. Shift into second, and soon we'll be experience our war. Need a couch, what are land yachts for? Faster than a trucker, quick as a nail. Let's all listen to Topher's Cartels.